life is not fair, right? There are moments where you thought you are the most deserving about getting a growth or a monetary growth or a career growth or academic growth, and it didn't come through. So you have to let go. You can't have a wild goose chase on that. It'll not help. And I've learned it the hard way because I've spent long hours, weeks, and days thinking, killing myself on why I didn't get this. Sometimes things happen for you for a better future, something which you are not seeing today, but somebody else is seeing for you.
Welcome to the True Leadership Podcast, where we sit down with executive leaders to explore what leadership really means through the lens of their stories, their wins, their struggles, their vision, and their lessons along the way. I'm Ty Hammond, founder of One Mountain Leadership and creator of the True Leadership Approach, an awareness-based path that helps leaders shift their focus from what to do about their problems to how to grow from them. Whether you're just stepping into leadership or are well-seasoned and at the top of your game, your potential won't be realized following someone else's script, but you can draw insights from their stories and turn it into wisdom by putting it into practice in your own life.
Welcome to the True Leadership Podcast, where we explore the essence of leadership beyond tactics and performance by sitting down with executives to hear what matters most to them. I'm your host, Jessy James, and today's guest is Mohit Lal. Mohit is currently the president of Americas at Motive Minds Consulting, where he's leading growth across the regions with AI at the center of the strategy. Before this, Mohit spent nearly 3 decades at Wipro, where he was part of senior leadership and most recently served as senior vice president and chief operating officer for Wipro's full stride cloud business, spanning digital engineering and cloud infrastructure services. Over the years, he has led large, complex global portfolios, at one point overseeing 20,000 professionals, managing $1.4 billion in revenue, and running multiple $100 million plus accounts, delivering transformation at scale. He has also led Wipro's businesses across Europe and the UK, working at the intersection of strategy, delivery, and client impact. What stands out about Mohit is not just the scale of leadership, but how he leads, his deep customer-focused growth mindset, and ability to navigate complexity while building high-performing teams. Mohit, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast today. Welcome.
Thank you, Jessy, and thanks for having me. Thanks a lot.
I believe that who we are as leaders is something that grows over time. How we show up as leaders at work, with our friends and family, really starts taking shape early in life. So I'm curious, Mohit, who is someone from your early life or even an early experience that shaped the kind of leader that you are today?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jessy. And there were different people at different times in my life. I won't be able to name one person or one individual. It's been multiple people who have contributed to shaping me what I am today. One of the first few I can start with, who taught me integrity and who taught me hard work, was my father. And I attribute a lot of this to him. He taught me very early in the age, and also when I was starting my professional career, that nothing can substitute hard work. No matter how intelligent you are, no matter how sharp you are, you must be the best whiz kid on the block. But hard work cannot be substituted, right? That's something I picked up very early. Probably I'm not the smartest, I'm not the sharpest, but I can safely say that I've worked my way up, down, sideways, whatever, through a lot of hard work, right? I'm not claiming I'm the best, but hard work and passion has driven me all through. And there has to be a sense of achievement. I've also been very outcome driven. I love to have targets, goals set for myself, for my teams, for my organization, for my ecosystem, and then chase them, right? So in one word, I'm a bit of a dream chaser. So that keeps me going, and that's a bit of what motivates me and what has transformed me to what I am today. And that's how I will put it. Again, no one person, different people, different leaders. I've been very fortunate to have uh, bosses and supervisors who are demanding, if not tough, and it helps quite a bit, right? It at that point in time, it is sometimes uncomfortable, not so easy. But when you finish a term with a leader who has been demanding of you, you feel accomplished, you feel uh, changed, right? That's the word I will use, right? And that's how I've tried to also do. So that's what I've been and I've learned from and groomed myself.
That sounds great. And in this podcast, we're really exploring the essence of leadership, true
Mhm.
leadership. And of course, it means different things to different people, right? And
Mhm.
and so what does true leadership mean to you? I mean, what makes a true leader from your experience?
Yeah, that's a very relevant question in times like what we are in, right? And I'll
Yeah.
probably start with some anecdotes. One is leading from front and leading by example. Is what I think leadership is all about. When you ask somebody to do something, you should be able to demonstrate it yourself, right? Simple things, doing the extra bit in terms of long hours, stretching yourself for, I would say, difficult goals and targets, or aggressive and challenging goals and targets. So leading from front is I think very important, and people won't say, but they observe a lot, right?
Mm.
So that's one. Second is, I always say this, is it a know it all culture or is it a learn it all culture? So,
Mm.
leadership is all about learning, and that never stops. I strongly believe that every moment, every time of the day, every second of your work or not work, part of the day, you are learning, right? So if you bring learning as a culture, you're able to demonstrate a lot of leadership. Uh, Another thing which I strongly believe about leadership is egos, right? I think egos kill leadership, and I'll use the word curiosity fuels it. So if you are curious, and then also it goes with learning, they together will make you a good leader, right? So please keep your ego. I always say this, keep the ego out before you enter the room or before you enter wherever, right? Office, whatever. And it also has a direct impact in one's personal lives also, right? Um, the other thing is, at some point in your careers, you accomplish something, you get authority, right? Uh, and title gives you that authority. But I
Mm.
strongly believe that behavior earns a lot of loyalty, right? So authority
Mm.
versus loyalty, right? Uh, Authority may work on a given day, on a given moment, maybe a given week, but loyalty works forever, right? So you cannot demand loyalty, you can only earn it, right? And that again also ties back to lead from front, right? So, and last but not the least, I always see this, and my chairman has always said this, great leader from my past life. People don't quit companies. They quit leaders. So these are some of the I would say leadership anecdotes or traits which I follow. Last but not the least, which I would like to call out is uh, people avoid difficult conversations. This is one of my leader told us, he was one of my CEOs from my past life. He used to always tell us, do not avoid a difficult conversation, right? And most of it in our industry happens with the clients. It happens less with supervisors, but with your teams, and it's very important to do those conversations and get over those. So these are things I would call, fundamentals of leadership, right? And I'm not covering the people shaping part, which is a very, very important part of the leadership. We will
Mm.
probably talk about it at some time in this podcast. But these are things which I strongly believe are traits of a good leader.
Yeah, Mohit, you mentioned so many tenets that are so important for leadership, right? Establishing a strong foundation of leadership in every situation. And I'm curious, all of these tenets that you mentioned, what difference has it made to you personally?
You know, I try my level best to practice, if not all of them, at different times, situations, and events. Most of them, right? So I can take some examples, right? When we have stiff targets, we have picked up deals which are, and I'm from IT services, so you will keep, I'll keep going and relating back to those things, right? More often than not, we are in a very difficult market. The pie is shrinking. The competition is getting aggressive by the day, by the hour. Technology is changing. I don't even have to talk about it, right? So in this environment where everybody is jostling with numbers, targets, servicing the clients in the best possible way, you got to be very demanding also, right? Clients are demanding, so we are demanding to our teams. And what makes a difference is, to demonstrate that first, right? I cannot expect somebody to, and I'll take a very basic example, right? Do extended hours of work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or probably give up work-life balance for a phase of the program or the project, or a month or week or fortnight or whatever, right? But I cannot expect my team to do this unless I am doing it, right? So before I ask them to stay back or do those extra hours, I'll be with them. So this is one very basic examples, and I try to follow, and as I have said, I try to earn that loyalty. I may be difficult at times during the day, but as soon as it's evening or a break, I'll put my arm around, go out for a coffee, do those water cooler talks. So make them feel, that you are with somebody who is taking care of them. It's not just demanding of them, right?
Yeah.
So that balancing has to happen. It's a very fine balance. If you do one and not the other, in both the situations, it will not help. So if you are not demanding, then also it won't help. If you're too much of, sorry, I'll use the word pali pali, for lack of a better word, right? If you're too much of um, friendly, okay, for lack of a better word, it sometimes doesn't help. So it's a balance between where you have to be demanding and where you have to be giving, and it has to happen frequently. It can't be that, oh, you are demanding for 1 year, people will, and then, okay, by the way, I'll be caring after this project is over. No, it won't work like that. So it is a cycle. It's the moment of the day, hour of the day, and nobody likes to be tough all the time, right? It's very difficult. I can tell you, I have days where I've been difficult, but I've regretted in the evening. I've felt bad about how was the day, etc., etc. And when I've thought through and lived over, right? So I try to balance the things within a very certain course of time. Sorry, I'm giving a long answer. One last thing: when
Sure.
when you are not very sure about what you want to do about a situation, sleep over it. If somebody is something is outrageous, either because of an unreasonable situation, it can be your boss, it can be your client, it can be your team, it can be your family member, it can be anybody in the ecosystem who can be unreasonable. Life is honestly not easy. I always follow a very simple principle: give it 24 hours. And after 24 hours also, if you feel the same, which you were when things broke for you, go ahead and get back. Last, very tactical advice, on the lighter side: I avoid fights on a weekend, on Friday. So, I do not. I just take it. If somebody is unfair on me, I'll just take it and go into the weekend. Come back on a Monday and decide what to do. And likewise, if I have to give back somebody, I won't do it on a Friday. I'll probably do it on a Monday. So I've learned it the
Enjoy the
hard way.
weekend.
Enjoy the weekend.
Take some rest.
Don't take fights on a Friday. Either way,
So,
up
yeah,
or down.
lots of wisdom there. Thank you. Life and leadership is a path that's shaped by fundamental turning points that we
Mhm.
encounter along the way, right? So, can you share about a time when you realized that your way of leading or living no longer met the demands of your work and life, and really growth was needed?
Uh, all the time. I mean, I really can't point a particular instance or an example. If I'm getting your question right, um, there is always, this act of balancing which goes on, right? I really can't say that this particular moment or this particular instance was such and such. So I I don't know if I have a straightforward answer to your question, but my simple answer is all the time.
Hmm. Like, are there areas that you feel you need to outgrow or even let go to be your best version?
Let go, yes. Let go, yes, all the time. Because I'll give you some very candid examples, right? Sometimes, as we all know, life is not fair, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are moments where you thought you are the most deserving about getting a growth or a monetary growth or a career growth or academic growth, and it didn't come through. So you have to let go. You can't have a wild goose chase on that. It'll not help, right? And I've done it the hard way because I've spent long hours, weeks, and days thinking, killing myself on why I didn't get this. More often than not, I realize that I'm a strong believer in God. So, I also spend some time praying. I'll be candid in sharing that. So, sometimes things happen for you for a better future, something which you are not seeing today, but somebody else is seeing for you. I'll give you a very classic example from my past life. I've joined my current organization only 3 months back, so most of my examples will be from my past life,
Sure.
which is Wipro. So it so happened that I was given a certain piece of work which I was not keen to do. It was giving me visibility. It was a role which was giving me visibility, but I had no team in that role. Zero team, right? I had no
Yeah.
reportees. I was directly working with the CXO of my group. Uh, I was literally handpicked to do that role, but something which I never wanted. It was a very operational role, no tech in it, no team, no client, back end role. Sometimes you get those bubble roles, right? So it was kind of a bubble role. I was, mad at my situation, right? I can't blame. I was not big enough to push back my ecosystem. But when I spoke to some folks, somebody told me these roles are created for very specific reasons for specific people. Just live through it. Just live through it. Do as it comes. Uh, don't kill yourself. And with lot of drag, I did that. Initial 1 2 months were very hard. Then I got used to one thing led to another. Somehow I spent about 8 months doing that role. But at the end of those 8 months, I can safely say I got the best possible visibility in my company. It was like a launch pad, which company had thought, my leadership had thought, but I could not see that,
Yeah.
right? So it is an example of let go, as well as, sometimes you can't see through, but your supervisors can, your seniors can. And,
Yeah.
you are so blindsided with your mindset, even if they tell you, you won't get it. At
Yeah.
times, they don't even tell you for the same reason. So it exactly happened like that. So whenever I'll ask, oh, why am I in this? Can I be out of this? The answer was no, just do it, and we'll figure out something for you. But at the end of 8 months, I realized how wrong I was,
Hmm.
and the let go thing helped. And obviously, the fact that sometimes somebody else will see things for you better than what you can see, and it worked. And it was my kind of, I always consider that as my launch pad to getting into the senior leadership at Wipro. So yeah,
Got it.
that's an example of let go.
That's
And
a great
uh,
example.
yeah.
Thank you. You also talked about learning, that it's constant and it requires real commitment.
Yeah.
I'm curious, thinking about your journey over the past few years, what's been the
Mhm.
most valuable investment that you made in yourself for your own growth?
Opportunity in crisis. That's the biggest learning I have picked up in last 5 years or so.
Hmm.
See, we are, we all know as leaders, when things will come to you, they'll come to you when nobody else is able to solve it. It's not coming to you because it's solvable, right? Some five people have tried it, and it has not got solved, and hence it has landed on your table, right? So there is a crisis. More often than not, things when come to us are either log jams or deadlocks or a boilerplate situation or a crisis. Or in
Hmm.
all the cases, it's very difficult to get a straightforward cookie cutter solution. Now there are two ways to do this. One is you take some random decisions, which at times is also important. You move on and hope that it solves it, or you see what is the opportunity I can seize in this crisis. And I can give you an example. I have actually two very significant examples. Uh, there was an example, again, it's an IT services world I have lived in, so I'll keep going back to those examples. Somebody deleted a share drive which had customer patents. Can you believe it? Customer patent, design patents were in a shared drive. And to make it more complex, my infrastructure team has not backed it up. So there was no backup. I wouldn't say they didn't back it. The rolling backup was such that every 15 days it will overwrite. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit of technical. And those 15 days had gone by because it was a year-end break. So the original backup, which would have helped us, was overwritten by a backup which was already taken off a deleted share drive. So we had to go into some 200 individual laptops, desktops to recover it. I was asked to give twice a day update, right? And there were times when I had no hopes of even surviving in the organization. It was so fatal. But I just thought, look, I have only one way to do it, which is report it twice a day, progress or no progress. Keep honest, keep the whole situation honestly placed, and put your best foot forward. And I did three things. I reported it for about 2 months, twice a day. Towards the end of 1 month, one thing came out clear in the minds of my leadership is that the guy is responsive. He's not missing updates and so on. So at least one thing which came out of this is that if you give him something, he will do it, which helped. And in the process, we were able to salvage also. At the end of 2 months, I got a note of appreciation from the client as well as from my leadership, right? And just imagine, exactly 2 months back, I was not sure if I'll keep my job. It was
Yeah.
that bad.
And I'm
And
curious, Mohit, during this time, how did you invest in yourself so that you could show up in this manner, right? Where you were so focused, reporting twice a day in such a huge crisis situation. How
yeah,
did you invest in
yeah,
yourself to get that best
yeah.
out of you?
I tell you, the best people around you in situations like this are your teams. And I don't discuss it too much. Stay focused and just be on the problem, be on the ball, right? Don't lose focus. If you discuss it too much, you're only going to get a lot of negative energy around it because you're in a crisis. Nobody's going to say, "Oh, you can do it," and uh, those cheerleaders are all gone, right? When you have crisis like this around you,
Mhm.
most people will be either neutral or negative, right? Because nobody is going to tell you, "Oh, this is a great situation. Don't worry, you will salvage it. You will get out of this." Very difficult to expect that, and it's not fair also to expect that. So, sometimes it is better to go in a shell. So I went
Mhm.
into a shell in my mind. I stopped
Mhm.
talking about this problem to anybody. I was only reporting it, and I was only working with my client and my team. So much so that I was not even reading emails besides what was relevant from my peer groups, or I was not even opening those emails because I knew if I open the email, it can derail my thinking, my journey which I was on, right? So it's very simple. I focus on the problem. I focus with my team and my client, and I reported to
Yeah.
my boss, and I didn't do anything else about that problem for 2 months.
Mm.
It's like fasting.
Yeah.
It was
I
fasting.
love that metaphor of
Yeah.
going into a cave and fasting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
was I
great.
was in a
You
cave
need
and
to rely
fasting.
on yourself. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Very
I was
good.
alone with my team and my client.
Mm.
And it
I
helped
appreciate
because,
that. That's really
yeah, I mean,
insightful.
you try to make yourself immune from the
Yeah.
outside noise, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I tried doing it.
I want to move to kind of talking about your vision for your leadership. So, and leadership is really about shaping tomorrow. So, what is your vision for your leadership, your legacy, or the impact that you want to have in the years ahead?
My vision of leadership is, right, let me put it like this. My vision of leadership is, we are in people's business. Uh, and once a leader told me, who also happens to my father-in-law, he told me, in our industry, people are raw material and people are finished products. We don't have raw material in IT services. It's all people. We are in people's business. So people are raw material and people are finished products. So I always believe that, I want to be, I want to leave people stronger than I found them, right?
Hmm.
That's one thing, right? The second one is, I don't want to measure success just by outcomes or growth or metrics. Although I'm a big numbers person, I've always uh, been with numbers. I love numbers, and I feel good, bad, ugly, happy, unhappy just by numbers. My days are made by numbers, and my days are not made by numbers. Right? That's how I've been taught, groomed. But people have to grow confidence in you, and they should also get a sense of judgment in them, and build a big character, right, while they work with me. So building people with a very high character is what I would, leave my legacy with. Um, and obviously, I want people to trust me.
Hmm.
They should. Can I be the one-stop shop if there is a problem solving to be done? So people coming to me. I love to. Um, I draw energy from outside. A lot of people draw energy from inside. I draw from outside. Uh, I cannot live without people around me, and that's why when I got that role where I didn't have any reportees, I felt very lonely and, I don't know, congested or lost. But that was then. So yeah, these are some of the things I strongly believe. It's a very important saying. You're as good as your weakest link in the team, right? So grooming the people around you, shaping them, and when they come back and do better than you, easier said than done, because it's not easy that your team is doing better than you. It's very important, right? And last but not the least, and I tell this to my son, it's you can only grow when you are with people who are better than you, who are smarter than you. That's when you grow, right? That's when you have to have company of people who are, most people want people around who are not so good. I mean, not as good as you are, so that you can command, control, whatever. I've tried to do the other way around, right? I've tried to be with people who are smarter than me, better than me, and I've learned a lot from them. So these are some of the things I've tried to do as a leader myself and as a leader with my team.
And what are the ways that you most need to personally grow and develop to realize this vision?
Huh. I'm not the simple answer would have been, I read a lot of books, which I don't. uh, I'm not a good reader. I'm also a very poor listener, right? Which is something I'm working on. Leadership is all about listening, right? I'm not a very big listener. But how I am a very, I think I'm a decent observer. So I observe a
Mm.
lot. I observe leaders around me. And when I say leaders, I don't mean seniors. I mean even my team members, right? So
Mm.
I'll try and learn from my team. I'll try and learn. So I used to have a person in my team, not the best of the leaders, but he had such a good knack for details, an eye for details, you know, unimaginable. I mean, he will go to the last mile of the data points and details and extract the real information out of it or inference out of it, right? I'm just giving this as an example because I was not. So I tried doing it. I tried learning. So learning never stops is my way of learning. As I said in the beginning, I think and learning never also stops from whom you are learning from. It can be senior, junior, sideways, even kids, right? So that's how I try to develop myself. I also I also try to understand about you know popular people, right? Um,
Mm.
and one thing I have learned, which I stated earlier, also is hard work has no substitute, right? Brilliance with hard work is deadly, but brilliance without hard work is is of no use, right? I don't have a word. Yeah, so that nothing can substitute hard work. So I keep reminding myself, and I keep looking for people who are in that league, and I try and learn from them. I mean, that's how I've grown. My entire growth has been without reading
Mm.
too much of academic learning, but a lot by observing.
Got it. The path to leadership is determined by where and how we meet our growing edge. So, where do you feel most tested right now? Like, what challenges are stretching you the most in leadership and in life? And I mean, not personal challenges, but where do you need to grow from a personal perspective? That's what I'm getting at.
I think I said it right. I have to be a much better listener, right? That's one place which I'm still uh, working. I'm still not there. I have to figure that out. Second is, things you asked me what I have to work on, right?
Yeah.
Reading, right? So I have to figure out a way to start reading, learning. Uh, I've tried to mimic. I'm sorry, I have to put it humbly. I always think how will Steve Jobs do this? By the way, that's one book I've read, Walter Isaacson's Steve Jobs, right? So I will try and think how will this person do in this situation, and that's how I will then conduct.
Mm.
But there is so much thing which puts me to test even now when it comes to leadership. Uh, I've not talked about something which is very important is patience. That's a very, very important aspect of leadership. Uh,
Hmm.
I I stated it in a slightly different way. Sleep over the weekend and don't try things on.
Yeah.
Uh, so
Don't react.
patience is extremely critical, right? And most people lose patience when the corner is about to turn. So you got to be very patient at times, and patience also tests you. So that is something which I have learned the hard way, and sometimes also it creates a problem because at times you are not patient because you have to be impatient also when it comes to certain situations and uh, things. But that's another thing which is very important.
Got it. Great. And as you talk about these areas of development, listening more, being more patient, reading more, um, what are the ways that you are developing these areas? How are you meeting this challenge essentially?
I'm struggling to be honest. I'm still not there. Because and that's where I fall short, right? People who are well-read readers,
Mm-hmm.
I'm obviously falling short when it comes to dealing or interacting or managing. because they have read through, they're very accurate, they're to the point, and I'll be circumventing without knowing the entire stuff. So I'm very good at solving problems, right? But my learning ability by gaining knowledge in a very comprehensive, broad way uh, uh, has to be worked upon. There is work to be done on that. I'll give you an example, right? So we were discussing a few days back what is the GDP of US and what are the treasury bonds value of US, right? And since I have not read it and done a proper research on it, I casually said, the treasury bonds are 30 billion ish something. Where's the number is 38. But the guy who was talking to me had actually read it. I have also read it, but I didn't pay attention to it. I said, yeah, I think it's 31 something. And so I mixed up the GDP and the treasury bond value, and I said, yeah, it's 31 billion. And the guy had read, no, it's not 31, it's 38. And I started contesting and then realized I was wrong. So then I was thinking, how come I'm not aware of, it's a data point which is floating everywhere in this world right now, right? It's the most talked about thing, right? About US, what is the GDP and what is the debt we are carrying. So, and this is just a very tactical small example which reinforce the point that at times when you are not well read, you may not be also stating the problem and you won't be well heard.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Got it. Yeah. My last question is more of an invitation. So you have the time and space here to offer to our listeners whatever it is that's most in your mind and heart, to share straight from your heart, anything at all. Take your time. The floor is yours.
And I'll put it differently. A lot of people ask me, what is your hobby? Right? So, and now I have to open up a bit of my personal, can I talk something?
Yeah, sure, of course.
So,
This is yours.
I don't know it's in hobby or what, I love to, I'm a strong believer of wealth creation. Whether it is, and it can be multiple ways. It can be your personal wealth creation. It can be a wealth creation by improving employability of the people. It can be a wealth creation by expanding businesses. Basically, what I like is how much can I broaden my base financially, economically, size of business wise, that I can take more people on or I can get more money on. So, I'm not sure if I'm confusing you, but the simple point is I love wealth creation, personal and professional. And second is I'm a bit frugal personally and professionally both. And this is not to please anybody on the work front, but I am what I am. So I'm quite frugal. People say, oh, you've been here, you've done all this, you've been so much in the career and all. What's your problem? I'm not a vacation person. I don't take vacations pretty much at all, right? Sometimes I have a FOMO also when I'm taking leaves. I have a big FOMO problem. Oh, what's happening at work? Is everything okay? Is somebody else going to take over my my role? Or it's a very tactical and a very crude way of putting it, right? That I have FOMO. So I'm constantly on emails, constantly checking what's happening, what's not happening, responding, just to make sure that I'm on top of things and somebody doesn't think that, oh, somebody else is doing better than him. So the typical front bencher mentality, right? I have to shed it. It's not the best of the things to carry this long in life and career, but still hanging around. Yeah. So the simple, I don't know if it was an advice or what, but that's my passion, right? Wealth creation. Yeah. So yeah, and learn a lot of how people create wealth for yourself, for as individuals, as family, as society.
Mohit, I really appreciate the wisdom that you shared today with me. I've gotten so much out of this, and I'm sure our listeners will as well. Thank you so much for being on the True Leadership Podcast.
Thank you, Jessy, and thanks for having me again. Thanks a lot.
That's it for this episode of the True Leadership Podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this to catch future episodes. This conversation was brought to you by One Mountain Leadership, where we help leaders grow the capacity, confidence, and presence of true leadership through the True Leadership approach. To learn more about the approach, our offerings, our community, and how we can help you realize your potential in both leadership and in life, visit us at onemountainleadership.com.